And we're back.
With Game 3 of DJD versus dislyxec.
Ha!
Which is tricky.
Haha, you did it too.
You can feel free to make fun of me now.
Yeah.
I've been making fun of
DJD versus Dies Like Elk on Shattered Temple. Very close positions this time. Very interesting series of games played out in different ways with almost exactly the same build coming out of dislyxec.
Yep.
Lexec.
Ha ha ha. Your turn to
Shut it.
Alright, and this is Group C action from the Microsoft qualifiers for the corporate team. These guys vying for a spot on the team. Of course, it's group play, so it's round robin. Not the highest pressure yet. But the guys with the best records in each group are going to go on to the bracket play.
Yeah, and so far we've seen some interesting play out of these two guys. They seem very evenly matched. Both were close games.
Yeah, some of the battles were pretty hairline.
Yeah, the first match on Metalopolis was a ridiculous base trade that just went on and on. Very close on both sides. Terran managed to haul it out, though, and sneak an expansion away. But for that structure, it probably would have been a stalemate. The next, on Zelnaga, a really strong push by Terran was barely fended off, and the counterattack from Protoss was barely fended off, but
the DTs finished the game up.
3 Dark Templar right behind the counterattack were just in the right place at the right time, not enough scans. When there was a scan, there weren't enough healthy troops to actually beat the DTs down, and DJD ended up conceding the game.
Yep. He was forced to lift that orbital, and at that point it was pretty much over. So, DJD has found his opponent, knows that it's close air positions. dislyxec guessed wrong twice, but now that he's checked both of those places, he does know that the Terran will be in the last place that he could.
But I don't think he's going to make it into the base. He's going to have a Marine there on the ramp, so scouting info going to be limited.
And this is the only time he's built a second Marine, actually. DJD went for the attachment immediately after the first one on both of the previous games.
Yeah.
So we have a little bit of variation in that build. Though dislyxec sticking with the Cybercore first, which is fairly wise. The only time I might not do that is on close ground, where you're worried about getting zealots out quickly.
I think dislyxec, he's just got a really comfortable PvT build. I mean, it's been the same thing every time. A quick tech up to Twilight Council, leg speed followed by Dark Shrine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's served him pretty well.
Which is interesting. I haven't seen that many Protoss that go straight for leg speed, especially when there aren't tanks involved.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Since he goes quick for Dark Templar before he even gets his second base up, so he's dealing with very, very limited gas.
Right. I think that's part of the idea that he's got going there. It's a very coherent plan. It makes sense. Like, he gets the leg speed because he has zealots, because he needs DTs. Mm-hmm. So his plan started with, I would like to push with DTs and catch my opponent off guard. And then it just sort of blossomed from there is what
now this is new.
With that build.
This is new. We have seen almost zero tech in the last couple of games from DJD. It looks like he might be switching that up.
Right. The only time he went for much tech was in the later stages of the first game on Metalopolis cross positions, and that seemed just because he was forced to.
Yeah, and we are going to be seeing a blue flame drop coming up from DJD.
You bet. Blue Flame is researching. That probe gets taken out. No scouting information for you. You're going to have a couple more Marines, and Gateway on the way for Protoss there.
Yeah, he hasn't had any scouting info, so that observer will fix that.
He might just go right across here and figure that out. Yeah, the rally point is set here, which is going to put him just out of range, but he'll see the medevac.
Yeah, he will know what's going down as soon as he gets this into his base, so he'll probably have more than enough stalkers to fend this off.
And then he goes for Immortals. And Immortal is the second thing out of the robo for dislyxec.
Huh. Alright,
there we go. Spots those Hellions. That's pretty clear indication right there. And then spots the medevac if that wasn't enough.
Yeah, you can see the tech lab working on that.
You can see everything that is happening here. All of the important parts and the medevac hanging out. Hellion coming out. Yeah, if he's not ready for this, then it's his own fault. dislyxec, you should be ready. And it looks like he is. I mean, he's crowding around his mineral line.
I'd like to see 1 or 2 more stalkers get built.
And there they are. Hellions arrive and leave.
Yep, gets
Because-
rebuffed immediately.
Screw that. Hellions are only good when no one's watching.
Well, the problem is that he is not free to move out of his base right now. He doesn't have a whole lot of units. He needs them there for defense.
I guess I shouldn't say only good. They are best when no one is watching.
They do have a certain amount of stealthy charm. to them.
Whoosh! Oh, that poor probe. It's just a lazy day at the watchtower, and then BAM!
Yep. All of a
Fire.
sudden, you're a greasy stain on the concrete.
I don't even know about greasy. Like, that grease would have gone up in flames, too. So Stalkers lead the way, hit the Hellions, but, not gonna kill any.
Not quite
No.
fast enough to catch a dune buggy.
And so this is a good move going back. The Hellions, it would be really easy for them to skirt around and just run straight for the natural and then take out any probes there, but...
Yeah, if he had chased him any farther, I would have expected they would have just rendezvoused with the medevac and beaten them back to the base.
Right, just counterattack. Either way. That is a good strategy with Hellions.
We've got a force going up.
being
The
able to
Hellions
counterattack.
are loaded back up. That tank does not have siege yet.
Yeah, it looks like DJD's in a pretty vulnerable spot, but for this bunker. I mean, even the Marines are rallied into the bunker and can't get there, so they're rallying on the wrong side. He has an observer he'll be able to see up on the high ground. Doesn't have blink yet, so it doesn't do that much good, but does kind of open up the options for attacking this.
Well, it looks like
this
he might have
area.
dropped a pylon. He could be ready to warp some units up to the high ground.
Yeah, he does have the pylon right here, so not a Dark Shrine yet, right?
Oh,
I
and he
mean,
sees the medevac.
Yeah,
It's going over for another blue flame drop, but
and there's no units in his base, so he is warping. He warping them in? Yes, right there.
got the
One more lap,
immortal
Two
free.
Stalkers are ready to help. Hellions are dancing around, taking the long way. Grab one outlying probe and go for the natural, which is pretty much empty at this point. And all of dislyxec's forces have come back to deal with those three aliens, which, I mean,
Yeah.
really, he could just block this ramp and be done with it, and then go back to attacking.
Robotics bay coming up. Oh, and he spots the
Ooh,
pylon.
Yeah,
That is
too
not
bad.
going to get the chance to warp anything in.
and the Colossus Den is coming out. Where is that sucker? Right there. So dislyxec looks like he's moving into Colossus play.
Yeah, that this Hellion harass has been indirectly successful in a few ways. Has not killed off a mineral line, which is, you know, the desired outcome, but it's been keeping Protoss on his toes, giving some breathing room for Terran to get this base up.
Exactly. It's forced dislyxec's hand into defending against that. So it limits his options and changes the way he wanted to play his game. And that's one of the really cool things about harassment. Ooh, Immortals leading the way, taking a couple tank shots, trying to pick off some units there. And
He's going to let those shields recharge.
Yeah, they took about 7 damage to their hit points. So they're just going to recharge shields and then come back later for some more. And there's the first Colossus, just now getting started. That could change the game. Not researching range yet. Some tanks are coming out. They're gonna. Can they corner that? They can pretty much corner that. That's awesome.
Immortals
Dislyxec picks off one tank, but
dancing
that's not gonna
away.
be enough.
Oh, taking a couple glancing shots. Are they going to push in against that tank?
They really are.
There's
And they're-
more on the high ground, and the Immortals are not leading the way this time.
Yeah, the tanks are just picking this apart, and even if he had killed a couple, he doesn't have enough units to actually push the main. So that's just a huge loss for Protoss.
Yeah, he traded 3 tanks for his entire ground forces.
Right. That was a big win for DJD right there. Good defense, good placement, good idea to push down and draw them in and just extend all of that range. So now dislyxec is down to very few units. Is starting to mine his natural, but DJD is able to re-expand. And in terms of worker count, fairly even. Terran is ahead and has mules.
Fairly even, but
And
also
there's
very
gonna be-
low.
I mean, 3 mules are about to come down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 mules. Didn't count the main. dislyxec feeling a little brave.
See, now this I think is kind of a bad call. I mean, just with the sheer number of tanks, honestly, I think this army could be cleaned up if they unsieged and just A-moved through it.
Yeah, definitely.
They've got range. The Colossus is not particularly helpful against a heavy mech force.
Right, and he hasn't actually researched the Colossus extended lance, so that, they're less useful against tanks then, since they'll get outranged.
Yeah, and the tank numbers are just growing here. Even a Viking out. Not looking good for Dyslexic. D guy. Other one. Protoss.
Yeah, they're both D. Ooh, missing rally points. Drives me crazy.
A little bit supply block, too. Needs to drop some depots. Maybe use a call down. So and a Colossus drop.
Colossus drop? What? This could be super cool, but I can't imagine that it'll do that much. So, yeah, gets 0 kills. Okay. Grabs 3 Marines. Goes back into the mineral line.
But here's the tank sieging up.
And there he is going to get a couple of SCVs and just get picked up.
Yeah.
And leave.
Uh-oh.
Oh, and the Viking comes in. He's going to have to drop the Colossus.
He's not going to get the chance.
He's not going to drop the Colossus.
Oh, no.
So the Vikings clean up the Warp Prism and the Colossus inside, which is like a ginormous win, I think, for Terran. He's probably feeling pretty good about himself right there.
Yeah.
That would
2
be
for 1
until it died.
A 2 for 1 special on bothersome units.
Right, for real. It's like, you know what pisses me off? These 2 things. Just kill them both in one go. And Protoss is going to go ahead and take out these rocks, plan to expand. He really needs to get that probe count up.
Yeah,
if he plans on taking more bases.
He is up to 38.
Terran is moving out with almost entirely tanks, and then 3 Vikings? 3 Vikings.
Yeah, this is a Colossus murdering force right here.
Yeah, this is what Colossus fear most, I think.
Yeah, you want to see a bio army without medevac support, not a horde of tanks.
Right, that's just disturbing, and the
Looks
Stalkers
like,
are not going to be able to do all that much against it either.
Yeah, Protoss seems a little torn with what he needs to do here.
Since we're at 9 tanks.
And he just let the entire tank force move into his base and siege up.
Yeah, and there's some Marines in there just in case there's air units or something, but largely the tanks are just going to do the work.
One tank goes down.
And every Stalker has died. Every Colossus has died.
One
the base
tank.
Is completely defenseless. And this is going to be a quick win for DJD here.
Yeah, there is.
Quick, but it will be over shortly.
Yeah.
So dislyxec playing some good rounds. A pretty even match, if you ask me. And fun games to watch. Colossus drop, what?
Yeah. No one saw that coming.
Not something I see every day. I don't know about you.
It looks like he's still going to hang in there, but...
And it's still trying, but the Vikings can see the high ground. The Marines have moved up to take out the Immortal. And this is GG.
Yeah,
there it is.
He won the game for the cost of 2 tanks. That was a ridiculously destructive push.
Yeah, so DJD taking the series.
Well done. Well played, sir.
That's been the first of our Group C casts, and we will be continuing on later.
Yeah, we'll have more on the way.